by that, I mean on Wednesdays we read. I'm Hannah.
I'm Laura.
We're two best friends who are doing a deep dive on a different book series. Right now we are shiting on the Wheel of Time, which means we're doing a deep dive into the works of Robert Jordan on the Wheel of Time series. We are now on book 2, The Great Hunt, and this week we'll be discussing The Boys. So Laura, as a start, what are you reading, watching, enjoying?
I haven't really read anything new, so kind of boring on that front, but I've watched a couple things. So a couple weeks ago, I watched Moxy on Netflix.
You texted me about that.
It is so good. I think everybody should watch it. It's it's a high school movie, but you know I love YA and high school stuff. So it's just a fun movie, and it's all about girls standing up for themselves and not letting patriarchy get them down.
I did hear one critique that it was very much a white woman's movie, like white women.
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
For sure.
I think that should be noted. It sounds great, and it also sounds like it should be for white women.
It is.
But so it's pretty much just, from what I've seen about it, it's just a white girl who realizes like feminism isn't taught in high school, pretty much.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
It's really good though.
But I have the caveat of this is a very white person's experience, which we've been seeing a lot lately.
Exactly.
Like I talked about Promising One Young Woman. That's a very white experience. Let's hope we get more diverse picks, which we've also seen with like Wheel of Time, who they've hired as actors. I do like how diverse it's looking.
Another thing I watched was Thunder Force. Have you watched that?
I don't even know
Melissa
what Thunder
McCarthy.
Force is. Oh, I did.
Gosh, and Octavia Spencer.
Okay, was it good?
It was good. It's very funny.
Okay, good. Is it like
it's kind of just your typical buddy superhero movie?
Okay, so it's not like I'm not going in with much nuance if I watch it.
No.
Okay.
I don't think it's anything that you're going to watch and be like, this is a groundbreaking movie, but it's just kind of fun.
Have you started?
Jason Bateman has crab arms.
I can't describe how weird that sounds in my head.
It's very funny the way that they play it off.
That's right on the level of the weird green frogs in The Great Hunt. So
right.
Okay, well, have you started reading anything that like you're not fully into, but it's there?
No, not really.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, everyone needs a week off. Well, Laura just sold.
I've had a lot going on, so it's been kind of hard to
Laura
read a lot.
Sold 2 of her baby goats, and she just slaughtered 2 steers this week or like last week.
So we had some processed last week.
And I posted this on Twitter as a joke, but my family bought half of Laura's steer. And by that, I mean, my dad got very excited that this was a possibility.
Yeah.
And he purchased half.
He's supporting local farmers.
He is definitely supporting local farmers. But the story starts with Laura texting me and being like, oh, my freezer's so full because we have all this meat. And I was like, oh, I'll buy like 5 pounds off of you. That's totally fine. And then I texted my dad saying, hey, Laura's going to drop this off because Laura lives very close to my dad. And I was like, hey, she's going to drop off like a couple of pounds of meat. And he texted me back and he goes, I mean, you know that sometimes people let you buy like a quarter of the cow or half of the cow? And I texted him back saying, yes, I'm aware, you know? And he's like, well, would she let us do that? So then I had to text Laura and be like, are you okay with this? And my dad had this vision where we were all going to split it between me, him, and my 3 older sisters who all have multiple family members. I am single and he is single now, technically. And 2 of them backed out at the last minute. Well, one of them said no for the start, then the second one backed out at the last minute. So then it was just split between me, my dad, and my sister. So we have like over 500 pounds of cow meat.
Yeah, it's a lot of beef for you guys.
And Laura went over, and my dad is a lovely man, but we can't say no to him. So we accepted half of the cow because I kept saying like, well, I'm sure Laura will.
He told me several times that he's very outnumbered and that you guys never listen to him.
Which is so funny because we kept hinting like, I think a quarter of the cow would suffice, Dad. And he's just like, I think we could do half. And you're just like, oh, okay, I guess. So then Laura showed up, and this is the problem. Like I tried to reality test my dad, and he was like, no, that's totally fine. It's totally fine. And then Laura pulls up, and Dad's just like, oh, we can fit this. And Laura goes, yeah, there's more in the back seat, obviously.
Yeah, he came out and looked in the trunk, and he was like, oh, this won't be a problem. This will fit. And I said, well, the back seat is full too. And, you know, just like the emoji that's this very straight mouth, little, like the mouth is just a straight line. That was the look on his face. He was just like,
Very wide eyes. But he didn't tell us any of this. I just got to know this like secondhand from Laura because he just texted us and said, the freezer's full.
it is full. It was a close call. I didn't think it was all going to fit because we're trying to put it all in there and I'm like, okay.
My dad
hopefully this all fits.
My dad makes a mess and then people just fix it for him. Like he didn't even clean out. We have a deep freezer. He didn't even clean it out himself. My mom's sister did it for him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because I was like, Dad, you need to make sure you clean out the freezer before Laura gets there. And he goes, yeah, your aunt did it. And I'm just like, maybe if you had to fix your own messes, we wouldn't get into these so often.
Well, you guys are going to have fun kind of sorting it out because it's a lot.
He goes, I don't know how we're going to sort it. I was thinking, yeah, I know. I asked about that, but you wanted to do it this specific way. So we're going to do it in your way. And then guess what? My sister and I are going to be the ones who are doing it for you. So
he kind of had some of it sectioned off, but I mean, it's going to be a lot of sorting for you.
I know. It's going to be a mess. Well, mostly
I had to laugh because we were putting some of it in. He's like reading the packages and be like, okay, steaks. And then you'd hand him one and be like, what's this? And we handed him one. And he goes, oh, what's this? And we said, oh, that's hamburger patties. And he goes, oh, I'm going to keep these for me. The girls can make their own patties.
So that's my dad. He's a very supportive man, but he really gave back to local farmers this week.
And also Hannah and her sisters can make their own hamburger patties.
You know what's going to happen though? I'm keeping most of that meat in his freezer because like I live in a Chicago apartment. I have limited freezer space. He's going to eat all of it. And then I'm going to have I'm not going to have the heart to be like, Dad, you owe me like hundreds of dollars.
Just go in and take a bunch.
I'll just clean him out of his bank account. So
I didn't mean the money. I meant the meat. Just go in and take a bunch. Like, leave with a backpack full of steaks.
It was a mess, and he definitely bit off more than he could chew. But I guess I don't have to buy.
I mean, you won't have to buy any beef for quite a while.
That was my roommate. It was like, "Oh, you're gonna go grocery shopping," and I was like, "Don't get beef. We don't eat beef." We're not getting it for a really long time. If I pay for any cow meat, I'm doing something wrong. Like I've already bought this.
Well, and that's the thing too. It's like, if you look at it, there's like 64 pounds of just ground beef and they come in 1 pound packages. So like if you're a family of 4, like you probably make like a pound of burger if you're making like a casserole or something. But the thing is, you don't eat beef every single night.
No, and I'm a single woman who eats a lot of chicken. So I eat hamburger or cow meat maybe 2 times a month. So this will keep me forever, I guess.
I mean, I eat beef maybe once a week.
Okay.
But
yeah, I usually do. But if I do that, I live in Chicago. So I order out like a Michelin star hamburger.
Sure.
So that
I usually do like a casserole or like tacos or something like that.
If anyone wants to know the grossest thing I typically do with hamburger meat that is also delicious, you brown it up and then you mix it with a can of cream and mushroom soup. And then you flatten out a thing of crescent rolls like into the bottom of a pan that's greased.
Okay.
You put the hamburger meat on top and then you put cheese slices on top of that.
Okay.
And you bake
it's almost like tater tot casserole, but with crescent rolls instead of tater tots.
Exactly. And it's delicious. And we call it easy beefy crescent squares.
I mean, it sounds really good.
You bake it in the oven for about, I think, 20 to 30 minutes on 350. And like the crescent rolls bake into it. And then it's like its own little hamburger, but with cream and mushroom to keep it like very moist. So it is delicious. And I highly recommend it. I haven't had it in a while, but we grew up eating it. It was just a mainstay in my mom's household.
Sure.
And then you had some random vegetable that was frozen and
right.
All that good stuff. But yeah, Laura's been busy with farm stuff this week. And I was helping with that. And she's
that was totally unexpected too. Like I was just texting you complaining because I had very full freezers and it worked out that now I do not have very full freezers and your family does. So I really just kind of pushed my problem onto you. So.
I mean, you did push it onto me because I will in fact be the one fixing it because my dad won't sort meat. Like he just bought it. And I even said like, oh, I'll make a chart of like what Laura sold us and we can pick out what we want because it seems like it's gonna be hard. And he's like, that's not how it works, Hannah. You you split it up individually. And I was just like, okay, but also I have to split it up individually, but not you.
I was going to say, what does he mean?
Where it's just like, well, there's so many T-bone steaks, so we all split them up into thirds because 3 of us are putting it. And I also tried to get him to like, I tried to convince him like, hey, maybe you should reach out to my uncle who lives down the road. And he was like, I think your sister, you and me got it. And I was just like, ask a 4th person. It's easier to split into like 1/4 than it is 1/3. But these are the conversations I have with my father, people.
Well, another thing is too, like your sister has little kids, so maybe they would want more of like the ground beef instead of steaks. You know what I mean? They're not going to probably want steaks as much because little kids won't eat steaks.
Right. So it's like you can have a couple of the great steaks for you and your husband, and then I can take more of those or something like that. But my dad was not. That's not how you do it, Hannah. I'm just going to make more work for you. You can just do it
completely fairly and like have to unfreeze, like throw out a package and like cut it into thirds because you don't get down to that math. I mean, that's one way to do it.
It's apparently the way I'm doing it, people. So because my dad told me no. This is very we made a joke because again, my mom has recently passed away. Yeah. So my dad, like she passed away, and that deep freezer, people, my mom used to make like 20 different types of Christmas cookies, like 8 to 12 batches of each. Like it used to be full of Christmas cookies from November.
Which says a lot because it's a large freezer.
Yeah, it was a very large freezer and it was always full of cookies. And my roommate and I made a joke that like my dad was claiming his independence by removing all thought of cookies and just filling it with meat. Like, this is me now.
A man freezer.
This is a man freezer. We have man things. It's just cow meat. Like, so that's the joke that my dad admitted his independence. He stuck his flag in the ground of his house that he now owns by himself. He also got new furniture. That was the other thing.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, it hasn't come yet because of COVID, but he has it. Stinks. Every time I go home, we're sitting on the couch and he's like, I really wish the new furniture was here. And I'm like, yeah, me too. You guys have old furniture. Yeah.
You like this chair? No. I wish the new stuff would come.
Yeah. Just...
That's awesome. I mean, not awesome, but
we're going to my nephew's this weekend because his 5th birthday. We're doing like a repeat party because I ruined it when I had COVID. And I was like, well, I might come home and drive over with you, Dad, which will add like an hour-and-a-half trip to my stuff. And he was like, oh, or your sister offered to go with me. And I was like, okay, well, we'll talk about like who you're going with. And he goes, you mean who's going with me, right? Just like, sure, Dad. Okay. Because
definitely not riding shotgun then.
Well, no matter what, he wants them to take his truck, but my dad also hates driving. So then you just end up driving his truck for him.
I thought it was a matter of being the driver, but that's
no, my dad hates driving. He just doesn't like other people's cars. Like, because he has to get into them and the truck he can climb up into. So it's easier for him to get in and out of. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
But that's just how he is. Anyway. So I'm glad you were enjoying Moxy and the other show you told me about with Melissa McCarthy. Thank you.
And I've been watching Arrested Development a lot too. God, but I've watched that so many times. So that doesn't really count.
Does anyone in this family know what a chicken sounds like?
I will say though, Buster on that show is my favorite. I always feel like I gravitate towards one character when I watch a TV show, and in Arrested Development, it's Buster. And now whenever we see him in other things, my husband will say to me, there's your favorite guy.
Hey, did you know that was your favorite character on another TV show?
Like we watched Veep, and he was like, oh my gosh, it's Buster! Like, I can tell.
Lucille! No, Lucille!
Hey, that's brother.
Hey, brother. How much does a banana cost, Michael? $20?
Give me the joke. Hey, campers. I'm a monster!
It's the Book of Gob. Job? Yes?
That's what Job is for. Oh, that's what Job is for. Okay, I could just keep quoting this show forever. Hannah, what have you been reading and watching?
So like I said last week, I've been reading Deacon King Kong. I'm 40 pages to the end. I love it, but it has something that has been annoying me lately in like recent reads.
What's that?
Which is the dust jacket never gives enough credit to what the actual book is.
Do you always read the dust jacket?
A lot of times I do, because a lot of times I just pick books off the library website. Like, oh, they say this is the book to read. You should read this. And so I'll just put it on hold because I'm like, well, I trust the library, you know. And then I'll skim the dust jacket. And this was like, yeah. And I said this last week because I had read the dust jacket in the first 30 pages. And the first 30 pages, it's like, oh yeah, it's the repercussions off of this man shooting another man. And then you read it and it's so much more than that. There's like a mystery with where's this money that's lost. There's a man who's suffering with alcoholism. Like it's so much more about the people surrounding it. And dust jackets keep talking about the catalyst of where a book starts and not actually what it's about. And I feel like it fails to accurately describe what you're going to feel with the book. And it almost feels like a betrayal because it's like, no, I'm reading about this dying community at the end of the 60s. And what's happening. And this catalyst is a sign of how it's ending, but there's so much more involved in it.
Sure.
And I appreciate that as a description more than I do of like, yeah, it starts when this man shoots this other man and then it's the repercussions afterward. It's just like, yeah, but you failed to
miss the point.
You missed the point. And I guess it's because I read a lot of, like we've talked about before, I read a lot of character-driven novels. And I think people don't know how to accurately describe character-driven novels. I think they always want it to be plot-driven. And it frustrates me. Like I just get frustrated because this book is amazing and it's excellent. And it's a great look at like a society dying to move forward into a more stressful community and how they're defined by the outside stressors. And I would so much rather, like, I wasn't particularly excited to read this book because I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm going to read about trauma and whatever. And then when I get into it, I'm like, no, this is amazing and detailed and beautiful. And people aren't giving it the accurate, like, perception that it's supposed to be given. So that was frustrating for me.
So do you think with the dust jacket, though, that it's something that a lot of people are going to be influenced one way or another about the book? Because I'll be honest, I almost never read the dust jacket or the back of the book description because sometimes major spoilers and two, I want to make my own opinion.
Well, maybe I'm not giving the dust jacket enough credit. Maybe I'm just not reading enough into it because it says like as the story deepens, it becomes clear that the lives of these characters caught in the tumultuous swirl of New York in late 1960s overlap in unexpected ways. When the truth finally emerges, but like the truth, like it's always about the singular incident. And I just wish it were more than that. And I guess maybe what I'm looking for in dust jackets is just like bullet points of things that you should be looking for, you know, like dying
I think
community.
That's fair. And I think that's fair that when you look at something like that, you don't want like a quick synopsis that kind of maybe misses the point or doesn't get the book accurately, but you want more of like, this is what is in this book.
Right.
Look out for.
Yeah. So I just wish it was more. And I've just seen it so many. I remember Such a Fun Age. It's like after this babysitter gets profiled in a grocery store. And yes, that happens. And that's the catalyst, but it's so much more about white people and their like feelings of this woman, you know? So it's just, it just doesn't make sense to me the way dust jackets are. It feels like, unfortunately, they're still writing them for a specific type of person who buys books. And you're just sitting there thinking somehow they missed the point. And then for what I'm watching, I just finished, I told everyone What We Do in the Shadows. You really need to just buy Hulu for a month and watch all of What We Do in the Shadows.
Maybe I'll do a free trial. I have another email address.
Perfect. No, do a free trial.
Nobody report me to Hulu, please.
It is so funny, Laura. Like I die laughing every time I watch it. The last episode is crazy. There's a line where he's like, I don't know if they're protecting me or if they just don't know my last name. Like, that's such a good line. What We Do in the Shadow is just so funny. I laughed out loud. And then my roommate and I started watching the new Jason Sudeikis show on Apple Plus.
Oh, I don't know that one.
It's called Ted Lasso. I would say it's just like new Major League, but TV series. Have you ever seen Major League?
No.
I had to watch it because Boyfriend, it was his favorite movie. It's fine.
Okay.
It's a sports movie. Okay. I have a deep blind spot for all sports movies because I was one of 4 girls. And
I'm just not a sports person.
Yeah. So Major League, yeah, I would say it's boy TV series, Major League. Those are how I would describe it. But
somebody asked on Instagram the other day, those like questions, and it said, "Oh, what's your favorite sports team?" And the options were like Cubs, White Sox, and then you had to put in your other 2 because obviously there's no options but those 2. But and I think the third was like other or whatever. And then they said like, if you clicked other, which is your favorite? And I put all of them. I don't follow sports, but going to the games is fun because I could go to any game and I could be like, woohoo, go Cubs, or woohoo, go whoever you are, and really not care. It's just kind of fun to just be in the game.
Well, I loved football for a long time. I'm less so now just because all the stuff that's, concussions and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm technically a Packers fan, so I have a problem going to Bears games because I hate the term "da Bears."
Da Bears. Da Bears.
You know how you get upset when people like diss on one of your favorite characters?
Yeah.
That's how I feel anytime someone says "da Bears." Like deep inside, it's gut-wrenching.
That's good to know, though.
I'm upset about it.
That's good to know, though. Then I have some retaliation.
Ammunition. Well, that was on Twitter. Someone said that the 4th book, there is a perspective of Elaine in the Wheel of Time series.
Okay, and let me just preface this with, Hannah sends this to me, like a picture, and I read the comment and so I can't wait for all of the angry texts that I'm going to get from Laura. Guys, I do not have Twitter. So Hannah could have avoided the rage if she would not have sent me a screenshot of this.
I didn't say I can't wait. I said I'm not prepared for, because you send me lots of text messages while you're reading the book. So no matter what, I'm getting a ton of text messages. So I can only imagine, like, Elaine's her least favorite character, and I'm not prepared for her getting that person's point of view because I expect a lot of like, oh my God, Elaine.
Well, and this is the 4th book, correct?
Yes.
Prediction, everyone gonna hate it.
Yeah. Well, that's because our friends over at Friends Talking Fantasy podcast.
Yeah.
It's one of the boys, Dylan's favorite characters, and he doesn't like Loail, which we take great offense to. But
yeah, more than great offense. This is outrageous to me.
I've used so many Taylor Swift memes, and
Taylor Swift memes. What?
They keep using Taylor Swift memes, so I use it as ways to respond. Don't worry about it.
Oh, they only respond to Taylor Swift? Weird.
No, they always respond to everything, but Taylor Swift usually is like, it's how they speak, so I'm meeting them on their level.
Okay. Their language.
I'm speaking their language. But his favorite is Elaine, and so he said something about like, well, Laura hates Elaine based on books 1 and 2, but she's gonna start liking her in book 3. I have a feeling, and I was like, Laura's reading book 3 and she hates her already. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
I'm in there. I'm in the thick of it. Opinions haven't changed yet.
If you want to know Laura and my relationships, I sent her a bunch of like Twitter discussions we got into on Loail, and Laura responded, "Twitter scares me," and that was our conversation.
It's a scary place.
But no, I can't wait to see what you think of Elaine's POV, but I'm not ready for the barrage of messages I get from you about what you're reading, because Laura also reads them like 3 weeks earlier than I do. I'm a
very slow reader, so I have to start early so that I'm done in time.
Right, and I'm definitely the English major where I will shove a book into a week.
Yeah, you can speed
read.
A deadline. I can't do it.
Yeah, but
I'm one of those people that has to have a coffee warmer. I'm looking for coffee warmers because I can't finish a cup of coffee super quickly. Hannah's able to chug it.
So excited about. I mean, I also have I just have contingencies for when it gets cold. So that's the problem. You're a planner. You want to like hot the entire way.
Yeah.
I'm someone who I will let my coffee sit out for an hour, and then I think, oh, I have like oat milk or milk to add to this to like spice up the chill.
Sure.
So that's our perspectives of things.
And that's how we take books too. Like,
yes.
I have to have it hot the whole way.
Spicy.
Keep it right there on my warmer.
But yeah, so it'll be fun reading book 4. I already.
Well, and the thing is, everyone says that is their favorite book.
Yes, I do know that.
So I'm intrigued, yet also nervous.
Well, we can save this for end of book 3 discussion, because I think you and I can talk about where we think it's going and what we're liking and disliking about the series. But
that's fair.
Yeah. Anyway, check out our Twitter. I'm being much more active on it.
I am not on the Twitter. Okay. Guys, any social media is all Hannah. I would be
very true.
Arguing a lot with people.
Yes.
You don't like Loail? Come on. Get with it, Twitter.
We have some people who are like backing up our Loail love, so that's good.
I mean, I don't think that he's one of those characters where you're like, this is the best character in the series, but he's very lovable.
Fiction Fans Podcast is like very into our pod and our Loail love.
Are they? So awesome.
Yeah.
I listen to some of their pod too.
So thank you for listening. Oh, I got a spotted cow when I was in Wisconsin this weekend. That's why I'm drinking spotted cow, because you can only get it in Wisconsin. Cool. I went to our best friend's baby's first birthday.
Awesome.
And then I went to a baby shower and I saw lots of moms and then I cried. So just so you guys know, like, if you guys love your parents, ask them a weird question about their life that you never thought to ask, because I miss those moments with my mom. But for sure. That was a little sidetrack. But I also got beer, so everyone wins. Something to cry my tears into. As we finished What We Do in the Shadows, so everyone go watch What We Do in the Shadows too. You really need to download a free trial.
I'll check it out.
It is so funny, Laura. There's a moment where his wife is like, you two look exactly the same, and she goes, we're completely different people. And he goes, I mean, one of you has to raise your hand or I don't know who's speaking. That's such an amazing joke. And she goes, say something, and she's like, we talk in different accents. Like,
so did they actually look alike?
No. Oh, it's just a woman with long dark hair.
That's awesome.
I mean, the show is so good, guys. People need to watch it.
For listeners, Hannah and her older sister look very much alike. Like, they could be twins. They look a lot alike. And my sister, I showed her a picture of Hannah's sister, and I said, do you know who this is? And she said, it's Hannah. So then I showed her a picture of Hannah and her sister together, and she was very confused.
My little niece, my dad and my sister went to pick her up, and my niece, it's my sister's daughter, and they got there and she saw my dad, and they call my dad Bampa, and she goes, Bampa! And then she looked at my sister who had a mask on, and she goes, and you're Hannah. And she's like, no, I am Mommy.
She confused her own mom.
She always sees Bampa with Hannah. So she's like, obviously these two are together. And sure. Like, no. My sister was listening to my podcast today, and she goes, and her little son's in the backseat, and he goes, that sounds like Aunt Hannah. And she's like, well, it is. So good job. Yeah, my sister and I look almost identical. She is 6 years older than me.
Resemblance.
She often says, yeah, we're twins. I'm her age because I'm the younger one. So
I mean, playing it to her benefit.
Yeah, it does. But when I was like below age 21, she was offended. She's also someone who like still maintains she's 21. And I'm like, dude, you have 2 children. Just accept the age.
She's a young mom.
A very young mom. Yeah. My nieces and nephews are cute. I have written books starring them. I've written 4 different books starring my nephews and nieces. So if people want to know what I do in my free time,
writes
children's novels.
But and adults.
I do write an adult novel. It's an adult novel. That sounded dirty. I'm writing a novel for adults. Should we get into it?
Yes. It's now or never.
It's now or never.
We gotta talk about them.
Okay. So should we start with Rand?
Yes.
How do we feel about Rand in this book?
I mean, not great.
I mean, way to take like the longest walk to the shortest conclusion. It's like at the beginning, they're like, you're the dragon reborn. And the rest of the book is him going, no, I'm not. But I'm not. But I'm not. And then at the end, he's like, I guess I am.
Yeah, I suppose. Also, he just does some annoying things.
Well, his like obsession with Celine, his obsession with any woman.
I was going to say that is a thing in itself that annoys me, that it's like he can't even like be in the same room as any woman without being like, oh my gosh, I wish I was as good as Perrin at talking to women.
if I were Perrin or Matt, this would be going so much differently. No, it wouldn't.
Oh my
Every
gosh.
woman throws themselves at you. Like, you're just not picking up what's being put down.
How am I supposed to handle my life? Because there's a woman near me and I think she's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. But wait, I thought Egwene was the most beautiful woman. Oh, I'm so torn.
It is so dumb how thirsty he is for every woman he meets and how thirsty they are for him. And this man isn't like just wiping the floor with women. Like, at this point.
Which also, let's point out again, how old is he? 17, 18?
Yeah.
That doesn't track for me, honestly, that these older women would be like, oh my gosh.
Well, they think he's a lord or whatever. So I do understand like different society standards, but this is such a 90s trope of everyone wants to be with this one man.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see which one he chooses. Are you serious? Like, what woman is just sitting around? Like,
why the most boring one? Why?
He is
why the most boring man?
Guys, I also, not to talk about our Twitter too much, but our friend Veronica, who hopefully will come on a show sometime soon, we were just talking with her about it, had this wonderful thing where she was like, why is Rand so boring? Why can't we get a book about Perrin? Perrin and the death of his terrible friend Matt. And it's just like, that joke was so perfect. I couldn't have made it myself. I'm so happy.
If you're not following Ronnie Reads regularly, you need to, because she has been reading along with the Wheel of Time. Her takes are hilarious.
They are so fun. And she's doing like a play-by-play like every day she's reading, guys. So every day it's something new.
She'll post like chapter 30. Can't believe this is happening.
She did chapter 34 and it was like Wheel of Time and the great fridging of Denna's character. And it's just like, yeah, Denna's character was fridged. Thank you for pointing it out. So she's doing great things. Ronnie reads regularly. Ronnie with 2 N's. So like, just follow her. We repost her shit all the time because she's so funny. But yeah, Rand is so boring. He has nothing going on in between his ears besides the fact that he is the Dragon Reborn and he is prophesized to do all these things, but he still doesn't want to do any of them.
I mean, the thoughts that we get, it's literally just like him thinking about women or him denying that he's the Dragon Reborn.
Right. And it's not interesting. Like, I get it.
It's not interesting. There's like nothing to it where it's like, oh, you know, that's interesting, you know, that he could maybe be something else or whatever. No, we know he's the Dragon Reborn. He just is refusing to accept it. And
I get it.
We have to continually hear it.
They want the reluctant hero who is thrust into greatness. I get that as a character trait. You could do it at least slightly less annoying than what you're doing.
Yes.
It is so annoying how repetitive.
I was going to say, that's probably the thing that's the worst about it, is it's like, these things are repetitive, and that's why they get annoying.
Well, and that's like, we make the joke of like, Tam's my father, Tam. But that's how he says it every freaking time.
He says it often.
There's no nuance. Like, what happens if Tam isn't my father? I have to struggle with my identity and figure out who I am as a person. That's an interesting thing to do. Mm-hmm. They haven't gotten him there yet. And it's frustrating to watch someone, like, it's the definition of insanity is hitting yourself over and over the head with a hammer and thinking things will change. Mm-hmm. That's what's happening here. We're just watching someone hit themselves over and over again with a hammer. And it's just not interesting.
And I think the same thing is what's happening with him and his obsession with women. It's just that it's so repetitive that you get easily annoyed with it.
Yeah, I agree. I do think the one interesting thing about Rand is the way Jordan describes Saidin with him, like how he sees the light in himself. I think that's a good way, because you were kind of confused on how Saidar and Saidin worked in the last novel.
Yeah, because it is confusing. Like, I was confused as to why can't any of the women help him with any of the channeling and everything. You know, you'd think that there'd be some way to help him, but it's starting to be explained more.
Yes, and I do like the way it's described as like, because I was discussing how it feels almost like astral, the way they're using it, the way he can see the light internally and then brings it forward. And you're seeing even the like toxicity of Saidin at this moment where he feels black and he keeps hearing popping in his head, like something's going off and there are alarms. I think all that's incredibly interesting for him.
And the after effects of using it too are interesting, that he like blacks out and stuff. So,
and
like, why is that happening?
it's interesting to watch him become the hero he's supposed to, because he is being thrust into certain things that are interesting, like being thrust into being a lord when you don't want to be a lord, and you just keep screaming that you're a shepherd all the freaking time.
And also he's very uncomfortable too with these type of situations. He's never been in them before, so
he doesn't know any of the rules.
Exactly. So, that's what I meant. It's a lot of I don't know if it's social anxiety exactly, but a lot of anxiety is involved with that because you just don't know the steps that you're supposed to take or the etiquette, etc.
Well, and he doesn't want people to get too close to him to like figure out he has siding, because
correct. So he's trying not to reveal a lot about himself either.
Well, and he really thinks like he is no longer deserving of love. He's no longer deserving of living a life. Like he is meant to die at this point.
So as he tries to push away everyone that wants to help him. And
so I think all that's incredibly interesting. But we've talked about this the last time we talked about the men. Rand is someone who the plot is happening to. He is not effectuating the plot at all.
Right.
And I very much hope he changes. Like I want that to change. But right now we're just seeing the same thing happening over and over again.
Right. Yeah, I have no more to say on him just because he's just kind of boring in this book. And a lot of it is just really repetitive.
Yeah. I think that's the perfect thesis for Rand. The plot is happening to him and he's just stuck in the same motion.
Yes. The wheel of time keeps turning.
There's nothing I don't think there's a lot to say about Perrin and Matt right now.
I agree. They're on this hunt. They don't get a lot of time at all, really. Right. Perrin's still in the middle of his struggle. Matt's still being Matt. He's total jerk when Loail has a crush on one of the other OWWRs.
I know.
And I wanted him to just fall off his horse. He makes a couple good points. Matt does.
I like when he blows the horn.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Proactive friend.
He actually thought of something.
He asked good questions. Why can't I blow the horn?
Right.
I think there is some discourse of like, did he bind himself to the horn in future books? Like he did similar to the knife. Like, is he someone who would have to wield the horn now?
The horn as well.
Because he has made himself the protector of it, which is also, I think if that happens, awesome.
That would be cool.
They haven't really like shown that that's going to happen, but I've heard some questions and machinations of if that's what's happening in this novel. I think that would be cool if he like bound him, because he has this whole dagger thing. He's looking for his dagger, finally got his dagger back. Like if he bound himself to something purely evil like the dagger, and then something purely like that could be used for good, I think those two things could be working against each other.
Sure.
And that is a perfect distillation of Matt himself, because he is someone who is like chaotic neutral at best.
Yeah.
So I do like that thought for Matt. And I do like, I'm excited to see where Matt's journey goes, but I don't like Matt still. I don't think he's done anything.
I don't like Matt right now, but I think that he has easily the most potential for a really good character arc and growth out of any of the characters so far.
Which is different than what we were saying last time. Because last time we were like, he is a useless character. I don't like how bigoted he still is. Like,
for sure.
Rand can channel, and he's just like, well, you should leave. You should. And Rand's like, I'm here for you. I'm trying to save you.
I'm trying to help you.
And all you can do is tell me I'm a terrible person for trying to help my friend.
Him and Perrin are so different. And okay, you know what? A lot has happened.
Like, Perrin is very, again, you and I like Perrin a lot.
Yeah.
But like, Perrin is very understanding that. I think a flaw in a lot of books is people want you to do the exact, and even in society, I would almost argue, people want you to do the exact right thing. And if you're not doing the exact right thing, then you're awful. And it's like, no, there's a lot of nuance there. So you could argue that Rand is being a selfish friend because he is dangerous and he is putting them in danger by being around them. Or you can understand that he still doesn't really understand what's going on with his own mind. And he just wants to help his friend, and he just wants to be there for him. And people are telling him this is the best way to help Matt. And so he's doing what he thinks he can.
Right.
So I don't mean to talk too much about Matt, but those are.
No, I agree with everything you've said.
Okay. Do you have
I think as far as Perrin goes, I would like to see him either connect with Elias again, or maybe spend some time on his own to become more accepting of himself, because right now he's kind of still in that situation where he feels very ashamed of who he is, and he doesn't want other people to know. He's still keeping it a secret, and he's now posing as a sniffer. Right. And I think I would like him to just kind of get to a place of self-acceptance, and it may just be a situation where he needs to go off on his own, or go off with the wolves, or go off with other people like him, like Elias, and learn more about himself.
I definitely agree with all. And I also think, again, like the themes of last week, sorry to keep repeating myself, but like Perrin is someone who effectuates the plot as a secondary character. Mm-hmm. And it would be interesting to see him make his own plot. Like, I want to see him do something different, meet different people, and see who he is outside of the Emond.
He doesn't always have to be revolving around Rand.
Yes. Rand over Matt, because I feel like this book, he was Matt's best bud.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just frustrating when you're seeing all of that stuff.
Sure.
What about, I mean, Loail, again, we discussed this. I thought Loail was done dirty with this plot. They make him so much
I'm going to point it out. We love Loail right now. And I think just because he is not a human, that he's going to become the trope, like, sidekick that kind of is played up as being the dumb sidekick and the dumb lovable sidekick. He's not going to get very good storylines. That we're going to have moments where, like, seriously, did you really make that comment? Or I can't believe that dumb thing happened when you, like, pointed it out. And so I think that just because he is an OWWR and not a human, he's going to be kind of continually done dirty and not given very good storylines.
I agree. And I think that's why Lori and I are frustrated with Loyal's plot, is like, we understand that if this book was written in a different time, Loail would have a better, more dynamic story than he gets. And maybe not every writer would be as smart to use him, but I am concerned that he's just going to, you're right, he's going to be the dumb,
it's a throwaway character, kind of.
Well, and that's the thing, is like, what we're told about Loail as a person, or as an OWWR, is he is smart, he is soft-spoken, he is well thought. He asks Rand difficult questions, and there's
a lot of history too with OWWRs that could be really interesting to the books, that is going to be underutilized, really. And I feel like they're being mentioned more, like we go into that steading and everything, but it's still not very much. It doesn't really,
they're used for plot purposes and only that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, he is used for Rand to complain to, and for him to kind of say, no, Rand, I'm still your friend. He's not used in a way that I think is effective for that kind of dynamic character who is supposed to be all of knowledge,
Right.
I think you could use him as almost a foil of Moiraine, where Moiraine is someone who understands all the machinations of things, and he could have been used to question the machinations of things,
Correct.
It frustrates me that in this plot, like, he didn't ever question who Selene was.
Yeah.
He just thought she was pretty. No one asked questions. He was just there for Rand to rant to, and for him to be uncomfortable, and Rand to force him to do stuff he didn't want to do. It's frustrating.
Yeah, completely agree.
So that's our Loail rant for the day. So I'm sure
still love him for nostalgia reasons, and because he's been done dirty.
He's been done so dirty. I just wish they would use him more effectively, and I have high hopes for him I do have high hopes for him, the TV series. I can definitely be disappointed because I understand how these things often go, but they could use him in such a great way.
Maybe they'll steer away from the books a little bit and give him some of the other characters' storylines, like they sometimes do in movies and TV shows.
I think that could be very helpful for his character. So I'm kind of hoping for a more modern day retelling of Loail.
That would be great.
Do we want to talk about Ingtar next, who we were both confused by his purpose in this story?
Yes. Okay, what did you think about that whole I'm a Darkfen thing?
I felt like it would be, again, I understand that, like, we would have to look this up, but like, people could add us. Did Jordan know he was going to be writing so many novels by the time he got to this one? Because I felt if he knew that he was going to write at least 10 novels, use Ingtar more effectively. Make him
That's
go
what
for
I was
the long
thinking.
haul.
Why could this not have stretched out over several books, that we could have, been introduced to him here, and then many books down the line, we find out, oh my gosh, all these bad things are connected to, Ingtar, who we thought was our friend. No, instead, we just suddenly find out that he's a dark friend, which doesn't make sense because he could have been with Padon Fane and the Dark Friends.
Well, that's why it doesn't make sense, because like, why are you chasing Padon Fane saying you want the horn so badly when at the end that's never what you intended? Like, there wasn't a good enough explanation for why he was participating in this specific way. We're like, if you left him in for a couple of books and then at the end he was like, yeah, I was always after the horn to prove to my master I was better than Padon Fane.
Sure.
But I didn't. And then but then he gave me different orders, so then I did it this way. Like, there wasn't enough explanation at the end, I felt, to validate why he was a dark friend.
Correct.
And he was just so one note, where every other line he said was like, I want the horn, I need the horn. And I was like, okay.
And I don't think there was anything like that was about his character that I thought was like, okay, this is a red flag, or this is like something that is going to be important. It just seemed so bland. I don't know if
almost as a Boromir character. You know how like Boromir was able to be corrupted by the ring and go after it? Like, it felt like he was that to the horn. Like, he wanted it so badly and like kept hinting that it was great and glory for him. So I could see where it could have corrupted him, but not that he was already corrupt. And
that's why I don't get it. That's why I don't think that comparison is the greatest, because he was already corrupted.
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying. If you're looking at him in the book before you know he's a dark friend, it feels like a perfect, this is Boromir.
Sure.
But then you find out
I could have already understood and been on board with more, rather than this.
It felt like it was more like he wanted the surprise
sudden
ending.
About face.
Yeah, like it just wanted to be the surprise ending. And like, I've worked on this with my novel. I have like a surprise ending where over the years I'm just like, oh yeah, that doesn't work anymore. I need to like lay groundwork. But that's what you do. You lay groundwork. You don't just have him keep being like, I really want the horn. And then all of a sudden at the end, it's like, no, he was a dark friend the whole time.
Yeah.
And I understand, like, he probably heard, in the plot of this novel, he probably heard from Balsamon, hey, you need to pretend to want this horn and go after them and just make sure Rand is where he needs to be. But also, you didn't do a very good job.
I was going to say, epic fail.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know, he was like so chummy with them and everything, and then he decides, oh, I'm not going to, I don't.
Well, he follows every other rule where he's like, yeah, Rand, you'll be my number 2 and you'll make sure it goes on. And it's like, you didn't have to tell him that. Nobody else knows besides you that this is going on. Like, why is this happening in this way? There's more questions than answers.
Correct.
So that was incredibly frustrating. But other than that, like, Ingtar's one definite, it's like I told you, with book 1, it felt like you could give everyone 3 words to describe them.
Yeah.
Ingtar wanted the horn. He was a soldier. And he liked Rand. Like, that's it. There's nothing else to him. So it just felt weird. Again, this book was something both you and I have said, a lot happens and very little happens.
Yes. It could have been a lot shorter book.
Yeah. That's what we said about the last book.
I feel like that'll be a theme throughout.
Well, that's also a theme with, like, I mean, I read The Name of the Wind, which is a great book by Patrick Rothfuss that you shouldn't read until we were done with this, because you will be reading 2 over 700-page books at a time, and I think you would go insane.
Do that.
But Patrick Rothfuss does. It's supposed to be a trilogy. He hasn't written the 3rd one yet. He has gone on record saying, I will not write this unless it's fun. Which, good for him, because everyone's like, give me the 3rd book, and he's like, no, I want it to be perfect. Like, no, thank you. And then I've also done like Brent Weeks' Lightbringer series.
Okay.
And Patrick Rothfuss, no, all of his words matter, but it's a lot. There are some things where I'm like, could you get an editor? Can we have white men who write fantasy just edit down 100 pages? Because I promise, like, cut the fat.
Yeah.
Except for Patrick Rothfuss. I will say he deserved every word he wrote, but everything else. But my roommate disagrees. She thinks he could have cut stuff down. So I do think there's something to be said. Like, I think male authors in this industry are often given a lot of leeway with fantasy because it's quote unquote world building. So that's my 2 cents on that. But Huron, what did we think about Huron?
I have really not a lot of opinion on him.
I found him so annoying.
Why?
Because of all the Lord stuff. Because again, Jordan repeats himself over and over and over again.
He was kind of just like the Rand ego boost, bring you back to reality that you're the Dragon Reborn type character to me. So I guess I wasn't that bothered by him.
You're going to be worshipped so soon. But it was every time like, oh, Lord, Master. And he's like, please don't call me Lord. And it's like, of course, Lord. But like, it's not appropriate for me. And I'm so beneath you. Blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, okay, at some point, let your guard down. Like, what? You're falling all over everyone is falling all over themselves over Rand. Mm-hmm. Everyone. No one, dislikes talking to Rand. Everyone wants to, obsess over him. Mm-hmm. It's just boring to read so many pages about people obsessing over Rand.
That's fair. I guess I wasn't as bothered by Huron, but maybe it's just because I'm becoming used to everyone just being obsessed with him that...
Just because it was a man, I noticed him.
Maybe.
Well, he doesn't want to have sex with him, but he still is obsessed with him. So
maybe it's because Rand doesn't have the reaction of, oh my gosh, most beautiful woman I've ever seen.
Huron is so hot.
If only Perrin were here to show me how to talk to him.
God, Matt knows how to talk to girls better than I do. No, he doesn't. Matt hasn't talked to a single woman in this book.
Women stay so far away from Matt unless they have to. They're like, gosh, we gotta get this dagger separated. I can't stand this kid.
All I can talk about is how ugly Ogiers are.
Really?
He's so annoying.
Kid is a jerk.
But no, Huron is so annoying with the repetitive language. And I think this is something we're finding with Jordan, where I hope it does improve as time goes on. Because
I think the repetitive language is annoying us.
Well, and I think that's such a style of the 90s. And that's where we're hitting, where it's like the style of the 90s was repetitive. Like they did remind you every chapter because a lot of people.
And with series, they always start off where you're
the first five chapters.
You're like,
this is Perrin.
Here's what you missed on Glee.
Okay, but here's what you missed on Glee. Never, it was always stuff that was 10 episodes ago. And it's just like, I guess we're going to bring this back this episode. They had a fight 10 episodes ago and then they forgot about it for 10 episodes, but now it's back. As someone who watched way too much Glee, I did drop off before the New York seasons, thank God. But
I never watched all of it.
I've never seen it all the way through. I tried to do it again and then I was like, I can't do this so bad. But the pilot still kind of slaps, just so people know. It's actually kind of funny, but that's the only one.
I don't think I could rewatch it now.
It's not good. But yeah, 90s books, you're always going to get a recap. You're always going to reestablish every single character.
And let's be real, details. Very few people that are reading this series have waited several years or they've forgotten all about the book.
I mean, I forgot everything that happened in book 2 within a year. Everything left my memory.
A year is kind of a long time. I feel like most people, if they're fantasy fans, they're going to be in it for the long haul. They're going to be going from book to book to book to book, I
guess I'm the only one who takes large amounts of breaks. It's been a year since I finished Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. So
see, I'm kind of one of those people. I kind of like to read the series through. Maybe other people don't do that, but I don't like to take huge breaks in between books in a series unless I don't like it. Then I don't have a huge problem with it.
I think sometimes I just get drained and I'm just like, I just need a break from this world. But I'm a very different reader than a lot of people. And I'm learning how to think differently because I'm reading one of these books a month. Mm-hmm. But yeah. Overall, Huron was fine. I did like that Huron became he could potentially be one of the heroes in the future because it shows that even an ancillary character could become very important. And I did like that as a storyline, especially considering he is supposed to be, quote unquote, the servant of the group. I think that's a beautiful thought. Mm-hmm. That's my final thought on Huron.
No, it's a good one.
What about Lan?
I mean, what part of Lan do we want to talk about? The beginning where he calls Rand sheep herder 5,000 times while they're training, or the dream sequence where him and Nynaeve have a million kids. And
I mean, does the dream sequence count? Because it's not actually,
we don't see him that much. So I'm just,
well, I also think there was an interesting dialogue with him and Moraine when they're at the farm And she
points about him not being her warder.
Well, and she kind of points out that he's changing because at the beginning of the books, he did not care about any of them. But I do hate the context of it's because he's in love and it's opened his eyes to feelings, question mark. Like, why is it like
he was like all out, ready to throw himself into battle, spear to the head, don't care.
I don't care about these children from Emond's Field. And then he met the one woman who could change it all. And
Nynaeve started screaming about something. He was like, I can't be throwing myself out on the front lines.
I actually like the sheep herder. Like, I can't just be mean to the sheep herder now. I have to just call him sheep herder in a nice tone. Like, there is that point of, in this book, in this context of the story, he had to meet Nynaeve to change.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. I kind of liked that Rand just grew on him and he gained mutual respect for this kid who was thrown into an unfortunate situation. And I hated that Jordan diminished it into, well, he caught feelings, so now he can feel.
He caught feels.
He caught the feels, and now he cares. Like, that's not how that works. Like, you can have this stoic man who wasn't on this journey before, and this journey changed him because he realized like some people cannot get out of their own destiny. And that's frustrating for him as a king who lost out because of other people's choices. And he feels that. And you ruined it.
Yeah.
I like Lan a lot too, because he seems very much similar to Rand, but in a better way, because he's accepting of what life has thrown on him.
Right.
And to diminish it to, well, I caught feel, so now I care. Like, that's not interesting. It's I'm just frustrated. I do like these book guys. I feel like I keep saying things aren't interesting. And I need to preface it. I do enjoy reading these books and enjoy reading the experience. It's just sometimes I love a good character change. And I don't like when it's changed just because.
Also, we're being very critical just to provide a discussion. We do like the books.
Yeah.
It's just if we don't try to look at things through a very critical lens, we won't have much to talk about.
Right. So it would be easy to just read this and not have a podcast about it. And
it would be very easy to just be like, Loail, we love you.
Yeah. And like, it would be easy to read this and be like, okay, Lan fell in love and so he changed. But like when you're looking at it with a critical eye of, okay, this is what fantasy readers read as like one of the first mainstream fantasy novels. And if all they learned was, okay, well, a woman can change a man.
Yeah.
That's not healthy for a woman or a man to learn.
I was going to say, that's not the kind of message we want to be giving out.
No. And you have to unlearn. I'm sure I had to unlearn I can't change a man between the ages of 16 and 30. Like, you just, you know, it doesn't work that way. People don't change because of love. But I think that was my most frustrating point about Lan, because I think it's interesting. I love that Moiraine, you know, said, I'm kind of planning for our future. And she kind of insults him. And they have this dynamic where they have such a mutual respect that this is a huge blow to him. And he is upset with her as someone who, like, he trusts her of the utmost. They've traveled for years together. And now she's questioning him because he caught feels. But he's just like, have I ever made it look like I couldn't do my job? What you're telling me right now is you can't trust me. That would be very upsetting. And that's a dynamic that's changing and shifting because of where they're at in this story. And I feel bad that Lan's having that happen to him.
Right.
I just like the characteristics of Lan so much. I wish it had better reasons for it. Yeah.
I agree with that. Do you think that he'll stay with Elaine for much longer? I don't think he's going to stay with her as her warder. Or who did I say?
Elaine.
Oh gosh, Elaine on the brain.
Elaine
Excuse me while I step out to vomit.
Elaine on the membrane. Elaine, she's got no brain. Sorry.
People are attacking me with this Elaine thing now so much that I am saying her name instead of the character that I mean.
Should I not be sending you the tweets that people... I mean, all Dylan said was he was really looking forward to you changing your mind. And I said, that's not going to happen. So
it won't happen.
I defended you.
I won't change my mind.
I fully never expect you to change your mind on Elaine because I know you are dramatic. So
I'm also just stubborn. So
and it would just ruin a really good bit right now. So don't ruin the bit, Laura.
I'm not going to ruin this bit.
Laura hates Elaine, everyone.
To the end of this series, I will.
No matter how much changes about her, I will hate her. We'll talk about her next week.
She's got to have some huge growth.
Pot on Fame.
It's pretty bad if I'm like more willing to like Matt.
That is true. We both kind of agree that we're almost on a Matt journey, but I'm still jury's out on Elaine. I don't care one way or another.
Yeah, you never really cared one way or the other on her. Book 1, we don't get much of her.
Book 2, there's barely anything besides the
Book
trio.
2, they're annoying trio.
Yeah, I don't like the trio, but I just don't know enough about her. Like, I don't know her characteristics or how she feels about things, so I cannot judge her at this point in time. Is there anyone else we need to Pat on Fame. I said Pat on Fame. What are your thoughts on Pat on Fame?
I think Pat on Fame is more interesting now that he's tied to Mordeth.
Yes, I can't wait to see where his character goes.
So that's really cool. But besides that, I don't know if I have a ton.
I do think it's weird that like Maureen didn't pick up on it when they captured him first. It felt like this was an idea that sprung out between the first and the second.
But do you think it's one of those things that she never like went down and spent time with him?
Maybe.
And
but she read him before. Like she read him a couple of times.
Okay.
And she was like, oh, he's just the Hound of the Dark One, you know? So it was weird that she didn't pick up on it, but that's the only thing I would have to say.
I just wondered if it was one of those things that she wasn't around him as much.
Maybe.
So she didn't.
I'm really interested to see where Pot on Fame goes. Like
it's kind of a cool villain.
Yeah. I could use it with a little less like, I'll get you, Randall Thor, with his arms outstretched.
Just like every time we have any kind of Balsamon thing where he's like, I've got you now, Luz Theron. And he's like, I'm Randall Thor. Don't call me Luz Theron.
I'll get you. Now I'm just imagining the TV show with like, I'm Randall Thor with his hands on his hips.
Just one of those like parties, like stomps his foot like, I am Rand. Do not call me Luz.
You can't just call me that. I'm a natural redhead. I'm not a brunette who they dyed their hair red. Oh God. No, I'm excited to see where that goes. I also thought, to bring it back, maybe we'll save this for the last week where we discuss the millions of lives that Rand lived. I think that was a very interesting topic that we should come back to in week 4.
Yeah, let's not talk about that now.
Yeah, I think that'll just expand on what we're already discussing. So stay tuned, everyone.
Yes.
Is there anyone else we should discuss?
That's what I was trying to think, if there was anybody that we were missing. Tom Maryland's back.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think that
could be kind of interesting.
I think with the fridging of Denna, we're going to get him involved again. And I will maintain that I could see him or Matt doing something they think is helping the cause and actually hurts the cause. Because I think they're
now Tom's kind of on this, like, he's on for revenge. And that could go bad.
I think Matt and Tom are both emotional characters.
Sure.
Like Rand is emotional, but he is emotional for other people, which keeps him a little bit grounded. Mm-hmm. Perrin is emotional, but he is emotional towards internal growth. Mm-hmm. Tom and Matt are emotional about what has happened around them.
Sure.
And I could see that leading to a lot of conflict. Mm-hmm. But I'm interested to see, I like the growth we've had with Tom, that he's always just kind of like an old dad, that he, is just living his life. And then he doesn't want to be a part of this. And it's almost like he does want to be a part of it, but he's trying to convince himself he doesn't want to be. And then I was going to say, I don't know if I necessarily buy that he doesn't want to be a part of it, because he's very connected to what's happening to them. Maybe not so much as those people, but what's happening. Well, it's unfortunate because I think Tom is one of those people who wants to convince himself, no, I never wanted this. But then this has given him the excuse, but it allows him to continue with his own denial. Mm-hmm. So now he can keep denying that he wanted to be a part of this. He did want to be a part of it. And he's going to try to convince you, I didn't, and now I am. This is his opportunity to get back in. Which is the difference between him and Rand, because Rand really literally doesn't want to be a part of it, and he keeps getting pushed further and further in. Yes. Till it will consume him to where it will consume him. where Tom wants to be in it, but keeps being like, it's how I describe Louis, which is hold me back, bro. You know, when someone's like, hold me back. And they're like,
and nobody's holding them back.
Yeah. My roommate's dog, Louis, guys, he barks at other dogs, but when he gets off leash, like he's escaped a couple of times, he'll stand there like, but I wasn't supposed to actually fight them. You were supposed to hold me back, and I was supposed to seem ferocious. Now they know, and there's egg on my face. So that's how I feel about Tom, where it's like, hold me back, and he like keeps pushing his arm into someone's hand, and it's like, I'm not holding you back, but it's like, hold me back.
Yeah.
I don't want to be involved. Like, hold me back. Come on, you can do it. Like, yeah, I do see Tom as that character. But
for sure.
Yeah.
Is there anybody else?
We can talk about like ancillary characters, like all the soldiers and the Children of the Light we meet. I just don't think, besides like the Children of the Light are still awful. They rained down on Sen-Chen and like tried to overtake it, you know. Mm-hmm. You had that weird like Lord guy who was keeping the horn. There's not much to say about him.
Oh yeah.
I think overall we're still very frustrated with the men of the Great Hunt. I think we're also frustrated with the women, just in a different way.
I'm gonna say again though, I think that Jordan writes the men a little better.
Yes, I would agree. The women are very similar in one note. We'll discuss it next week. But like the men, there's so much nuance, and I think
there's very different characters.
I think the problem is you and I also like the women a lot more. Like we like Lan, Perrin, and a lot of the women. Like, so it's difficult when you like a character and you see where their feelings are, and you can see how they could be stronger in the story. But we haven't gotten there yet.
Right.
Okay, so is that our final word on the men of the Great Hunt?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, well, everyone, please message us how you feel about these people. Please let us know if you think we're wrong, except if you're just tweeting at us.
Elaine talk, don't tweet at me.
No. Well, they won't be tweeting at you. They'll be tweeting at me. So feel free to tweet about anything.
But remember, anything you tweet at Hannah, she will relay to me through screenshots, and then I will just annoy her about it because I'm scared of Twitter.
Or I won't screenshot it and I just won't tell you, and you'll never know. Sometimes that happens too.
That's maybe the best approach.
I don't always tell Laura. I only tell her sometimes, but
that's maybe the best approach, Hannah.
I usually distill when I think it's funny, and then Laura's like, that's not funny. She's like, isn't it a little funny? She's like, no. So yeah. So tweet at us anything you would like. If you're going to just rag on Loail, though, remember that story has been done so many times, and he's cute. And our argument is he has a character who was done dirty. Yes. He should have been more pivotal and more interesting because of the characteristics he was given. And Robert Jordan failed him, and I will die on that hill. So
I'm right there with you.
Right. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. Making sure you rate us 5 stars is a great way to make sure we get exposure to everyone else, and we like talking about this, and we enjoy what we're doing. You can reach out to us at OWWR Pod on all social media platforms. That's OWWR Pod at gmail.com or on Instagram and Twitter. And then I think next week we'll be talking about the women in Wheel of Time, the Great Hunt. And we hope you guys have a great day. Bye.